Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my June 2018 TBR. So my TBR is huge, but I don't think I'm going to read all these books, but they're all potentials, and I thought I better just put them all on the list because I've made a decision to follow a theme this month. Now I don't do that very often, but this was an easy one. So I did look at doing the Reading Women's Reading Challenge, and they're doing a month-long readathon for, you know, trying to catch up on some of the prompts, so that I think there's like 24 for the year and 2 bonus ones. Anyway, I looked at the list and I really just didn't connect with a whole lot of them. So I did look at my bookshelves and I go, I have all these books written by women authors. I'll just read those. So I am doing a women's only month in June. Because again, I have so many books and I usually read about 50-50 between male and female. So I thought, hey, I'll just do all female in June and see how this goes. So I'm kind of excited about this. So the first book is one that I don't have yet, but I'm going to get on, I think, June 12th. And that is Ocean Light by Nalini Singh. This is the 17th book in the Side Changeling series. So I am really excited for this. I love this series. It's one of my favorite paranormal romance series and authors. So again, automatic buy. So when that book comes out, I'm going to start reading it. So as I said, it's too far into the series to say too much about it. It just has to do with shifters and people with psychic abilities and humans all vying for power and the other people trying to get along so that there isn't all the chaos, but of course there's all the chaos. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to that. Right now I am rereading The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. This is a book that I read about 7 years ago, so I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I'm rereading it right now because it's a historical fiction book about 2 timelines, 1708, like a Scottish rebellion, and also then present day, and so how they combine. And as I said, I really enjoyed this book when I first read it, so I'm enjoying the reread. But the reason I'm reading this is because technically book 2, The Firebird, this is the only one of her books I think that actually like has kind of a loose connection between 2 books. Anyway, so I want to get to The Firebird, which has to do with a Russian object that could have belonged to the Empress Catherine. So it has where there's 2 timelines, the present and the past, and I really want to see what happens with this one. The classic that I'm going to read is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is a book I've been wanting to read for the last year since I first started hearing about it, because I do not know why this is not on any of the lists that I had from college. Like, I'm still stunned that I did not know anything about Elizabeth Gaskell until BookTube. So this has to do with the industrial North and a family that moves there and dealing with changes in their lives, as well as seeing how not everybody's treated very well with the industrialization and stuff. I'm not quite sure. I actually am kind of going into a lot of this blind. I know a lot of people love this book. Ange at Beyond the Pages is doing a read-along in June, from June 10th to the 30th. I'm going to attempt to do it by doing, the chapters a day that are listed. We'll see what happens. I'm not really good at keeping myself to reading only a couple chapters of any book, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. A nonfiction book I want to read is The Red Parts by Maggie Nelson, an autobiography of a trial. So this, I think, has to do with her, I keep thinking it's her aunt who was murdered, and then years later they find who it was and he goes on trial for it, I think. Anyway, I know it has to do with some kind of trial. So I'm looking forward to this because I like true crime, and I haven't read a whole lot recently. And that's one I picked up. And I thought it'd be different because it has a personal perspective on it, not just the detectives or the the writer or the journalist or something. So I thought it'd be kind of different. The other nonfiction book I have on this is HS4 Hawk by Helen MacDonald. Again, a lot of people have seen this on abookolive, and some other people have read this since she raved about it. It has to do with a woman who, while grieving for the death of her father, raises a goshawk. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. I've not read a bird book, so we'll see how this goes. I just hear it's really good, so I really want to try to get to that. So here's a book that I bought last year, I think, probably one of my first book hauls, and that was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I really have been wanting to read this for years. Like when it first came out, I was going to get it from the library, and I don't remember what happened. I forgot about it or something. I don't know. And then I forgot it until BookTube, and then everybody was talking about this on and off, and of course now her new book's out, Circe's, but I don't want to read that until I have read this and at least given this a shot, because this story sounds great about Achilles and Patroclus, I think is how his name is said. Anyway, their relationship as well as dealing with the events in the Trojan War and the Iliad. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course I am. What am I don't know why I said that, sorry. Pages for You by Sylvia Brownrigg is a book that I picked up. I think I ordered it after seeing it on Simon's channel, Savidge Reads. And I've been wanting to read this for a while because it's not super long. And I have actually the second book, Pages for Her, on my Kindle. It was a daily deal at some point. So I have both books. I really would just like at least get to the first one and see if I like it. I'm not sure. It has to do with a young college girl who meets an older woman she's attracted to, and turns out I think it's one of her professors. I'm not sure. So it's I think their affair, and I think things go badly is what I hear. So this is probably going to be a hard one to read, but I do want to read that. Another hard one is Hotel Iris by Yoko Ogawa. This has to do with a young girl a young woman, like 17 years old, who works for her mother at their hotel. And she meets a middle-aged man that she's drawn to. And I don't know exactly what happens. I know she goes to see him. I'm guessing it's some kind of an affair kind of thing. But I think there's also kind of a mystery, because I think it says they thought that he had killed his wife, or suspected. I don't know. I'm not sure. So there might be a mystery. It might be just a sexual awakening thing. I don't know. It just talks about it's dark. So I want to try that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I also have one sci-fi in here, and that is A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is book 2 in the Wayfarer series. I liked A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it because, again, I wanted a little bit more action and a little bit more plot. But so I hear that this one might be even less plot. I'm not quite sure, so we're going to see. I really want to know how I feel about this before I decide if I'm going to order or get the third book. There's a third one coming out in July. So I do want to read this book, because I did like the first book and I did like the writing, so I want to check that out. I guess I have also Dystopian. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is one I've heard about for years again, and I just never picked up a copy until last year, but I still haven't picked up to read it. So I know it has to do with the traveling troupe of musicians and actors, and they go somewhere where there's some kind of crazy prophet. I'm not quite sure past that, and I know it's dystopian in some, because there was some flu epidemic that took out most of the population. So we'll see how that goes. And then one I'm not sure I'm going to get to, but I feel kind of guilty. It's been on my shelf since I bought it, when I was going to read it right away when I got it, and I didn't. And that is The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. And this is like a historical fiction about a woman, I think, who's recently widowed and pregnant, and is sent to her husband's estate where she had never been. I think with his sister or something like that. I'm not sure. Cousin, something. And weird things happen, and there are these little silent companion like cutouts upstairs in the attic, and I don't think anybody wants her there, and I don't know. This is gonna be a weird book. I'm not sure I'm gonna get to that. That might be waiting till October, but I keep looking at it going, I have to read that, because I bought it early in Book Depository to get it early, and then I never read it. Anyway, and then the last one is Manners and Mutiny, the last book in the Finishing School series by Gail Carriger. Now, I've read, up to a point, everything by her and loved it all, because I read her from the very first book, From Solace. And I've read almost all of her books, except the point I got stuck here. So I had read up to the third book, and then I got the fourth one, and then I haven't read it yet. I've had it for years. And then the new Custer Protocols are coming out, and the third book is coming out in July, I believe. But I stopped reading those because I was afraid that something happens in here that could, like, I would be spoiled for it because those are the books are later. So, and then there's all her novellas that are in between on some of the characters that I also think I'm going to be spoiled if I don't read this book. So I need to read this book to finish this series. This is one of the series I need to finish anyway. So I want to finish this so that I can continue on with the Custard Protocol series, as well as all those novellas that have come out in the last couple of years that I have not been able to read. I own on my Kindle, but I have not got to read them. So I do want to read that. So those, I don't think I'm going to be able to lift these. Okay. Oh, see, I knocked that over. But I'm done. I don't want to do this again. So we're just going to lift them super ass quick here. Sorry. Sorry. I should not do this. There we go. There's all the books that I'd like to read in June, but I doubt I will. So anyway, if you see anything that you think I should definitely pick up this month, let me know. What are you guys reading in June? Are you guys doing the Reading Women's readathon, or are you gonna be like me and kind of go rogue and just read women? Let me know. Bye.